All right. Welcome, everybody. Week one boot camp. So excited. Let's see. Maybe we should have us show us. Okay. Well, we are coming to you live from Hawaii. It is 6 a.m. our time. We got up at 5. It's still dark outside. Hopefully we'll get a little sunrise in maybe 45 minutes, and we'll turn our laptop around and show you. But we are excited to be here.
So why are we here? We are here because these next couple of months are critical to our businesses, to how many people we're going to help. A lot of people look at this time of year and they look ahead into the future and they're like, oh man, January 1st. A lot of us have done that over throughout our lives, right? We pick January 1st as a milestone in new behaviors and new habits and so forth.
But what really happens, right?
That the average New Year's resolution lasts for about 3 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
That's average. That means there's some that are shorter.
That's according to Google. So Google knows everything.
Yes.
So in the world we live in, we're going to say 3 weeks, unless, the 85% of people regain their weight within 2 years without some critical piece. And that's behavior modification and coaching. Mm-hmm. So right now we are setting ourselves up to be able to assist these people who are going to be making the decision over the next few months to turn their health around, turn their lives around, and put in the work necessary to help a ton of people.
Yeah, and the truth about it is that a lot of times so much ground is lost between Halloween and New Year's that 3 weeks that people are like, oh, my New Year's resolutions, it doesn't even make up for like half of the ground lost during that time. And the same could be true with your business. We're talking about health a little bit right there, because clearly that's what we do. But the same could be true with your business. If you lose so much ground between now and New Year's, that 3 weeks of motivation, I guess, that you get after New Year's Day, that's not going to make up for even half the ground lost if we can just get into daily consistent action. So let's see. I'm going to share a little bit here.
And this season that we're in, we call this separation season. There are some typical separation seasons during every year. Number one is the holidays, because what we do right now for the next 6 weeks is going to determine what the first quarter of 2022 looks like for you in your business. So many people during that first quarter come to us and they're like, Amber, Jared, my business isn't growing like you guys said it would. What do you think I say to them? Oh, what did you do during October, November, December? Oh, well, I had a lot of family parties and I wasn't 100% on clear about my own health goals. Well, there you go. The truth is, what we do right now separates the wheat from the chaff, so to speak, in the first quarter of the next year. In your physical health, in your mental health, in your spiritual health, in your financial health, it's like right now, people are making huge decisions right now. And most of them are being made unconsciously.
Absolutely.
What am I going to do with my physical health? Am I going to not make a plan when I go to all these parties? We're not saying stay home and don't go to the parties. Go out and be social. Let people know that you're living a different way during this season. What are you doing financially? Are you keeping up with the Joneses? Are you putting your Christmas all on credit cards like the rest of the world? Rather than demonstrating some discipline and control, and saying, you know what, we may not be able to spend that or do that right now, but you know what I am going to do? You know what I have control over? My actions. I'm going to create relationships during this separation season, and I'm going to build my income. Christmas to us, like this kind of season, it's not that big of a deal. Like, yeah, we're spending quite a bit of money this week coming to Hawaii for Thanksgiving and stuff, but we don't have huge extravagant Christmases. But I'll tell you what is pretty dang cool is when we want something or we just don't, I don't know.
You digress.
I
Okay, let's
digress.
get it back
We
on
can buy
topic
whatever
here.
we want whenever we want.
I am here
It's not
to
just
keep
Christmas.
this guy on track. All right. All right. So I want to ask you a question. Are you all in? Are you ready to make Optavia, your Optavia business, a rock in your schedule? And that starts with this boot camp for the next 5 weeks. Okay. Making this, because we're about 5-6 weeks from Christmas.
Yep.
As it stands. We're not doing this boot camp on Christmas Day, but the week before, we are doing it. Will you make this a rock in your schedule? Will you plan things around this?
Next Saturday, this will be happening.
Yes.
Right?
The Saturday after Thanksgiving.
2 days after Thanksgiving.
Do you know when Thanksgiving is? It's on a Thursday. I will even give you Black Friday.
And do you know when people typically celebrate Thanksgiving? From about noon to 8 p.m. on Thursday. It's not even the whole day.
That's right. Plan things around. What if you did that? You guys, what if you prioritized your Optavia business for the next 6 weeks? What do you think would happen if you put in the daily work? What do you think would happen if you planted seeds? They're gonna grow, you guys. But I want you to think about what might come up. What might come up for you? Lots of stuff. Parties, lunches, dinners, neighbors dropping cookies at your door, family members saying, let's just hang out all day, right? So I want you to visualize
kids being
that.
home for holiday breaks.
Yeah, so many things are going to come up. I want you to think, what's going to come up for me that would maybe prevent me in the past from doing my work? And this business, this isn't an 8-hour-a-day gig, you guys. Like a lot of times it's like 30 to 90 minutes of focused work per day can move the dial so much. But visualize what could come up for you. And I want you to visualize yourself making the decision that your higher self wants to make through that. Okay. And going to the action. Okay. I'm visualizing that my mother-in-law is saying, let's all play games for 8 hours. Let's play games without rules so that never ends. That's what my mother-in-law likes. And
we don't like winners and losers in my family, so we play games without any rules, which prevents the game from ever ending.
Yeah, that's a funny one because your family is just really likes winners and losers. Okay, yeah. So visualize yourself saying, yeah, I would love to play that game. Let's play the version with the rules so that it ends. And then I'm going to go and work for 1 hour. And then I'm going to come back and we'll all go to the sleigh ride. Okay, whatever it is for you. Visualize yourself doing that.
Okay. And I want to say something here. We want you fully present on these boot camps for 1 hour on Saturday mornings. Will it be recorded? Yes, it will be recorded. Will it be available for you to play back? Yes. But don't go back and watch this as your work time.
Yes.
People get lost in trainings. Go to your trainings, be fully present for your trainings, and then go do the work. Training is not work.
Check yourself right now. Are you checking email right now? Are you scrolling Facebook right now? What are you doing right now that is being not fully present? It's okay. This isn't me slapping you on the hand if you're doing that. I have done that myself.
In my previous career, I had to do continued education every single year. But guess what it did not do? It did not pay me. I still had to do work, and continued education was part of my professional education to maintain licenses. So know that the trainings are important. It's where we develop personally. It's where we get out of our own way. It's where we get a taste for current reality sometimes. Really, really important. But it's not the thing that's going to move the dial massively in your business.
Okay, so before we get into some more stuff here, I want to bring on my friend Joy. And I've asked Joy to share a little bit about her story and a little bit about how she has been putting in the work to grow her business and give you guys some inspiration on this Saturday morning. So Joy, go ahead and take yourself off mute and take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I am just so excited to get to be here this morning and share my journey. My life has changed drastically in the past 10 months. So let me set the stage of what was happening in my life 10 months ago. So I was morbidly obese, and I had just been diagnosed with prediabetes. And my doctor had given me two choices. He said, you can have weight loss surgery, or you can do this a program through my insurance company that I couldn't afford. And so I said, well, let me find a plan C. Neither one of those worked for me. And so I kind of searched and searched. I had tried a million other different programs throughout my life. I had severe acid reflux as well. I was taking 14-day Prilosec treatments, and I was taking them back to back because my heartburn just wasn't going away from that. And then I was taking Tums in the middle of the night on top of that because I was choking all night long. So needless to say, I wasn't sleeping very well those days. And I was kind of desperate, and my depression and anxiety were out of control. I just felt really hopeless and frustrated. Movement was really hard for me. It was hard to just get up and walk around. I was tired all the time. I had aches and pains all the time. So I was also in college online getting my bachelor's degree in public health, and I needed an internship to graduate. So I found this internship program through Optavia and met my coach and friend now, Tony Allman. But when I had heard about the internship, I was like, yeah, health coaching for me. I'm morbidly obese. That's not going to happen. So I applied to 50 other internships. I was adamant, like, absolutely not. I can't do this. This is not for me. Couldn't find an internship. And so I just, okay, fine. I'll jump in, whatever. It's not going to work. People are going to laugh at me. So I jumped in as an intern, and my friend and coach Tony told me more about the program, and so I just decided, you know what, I'm desperate, I'm just going to jump in, whatever. I signed up for the 5-in-1 program. I told her everything else I've tried, nothing works. It's just my body just won't respond. And I actually signed up to be a coach the same day I signed up to be a client, because Tony told me, you're 5 times more likely to keep the weight off and to find success in your own journey. And I was like, that is whatever. Okay, sure. I'll sign up, whatever. I'm desperate. I signed up. I had no visualization of the future that was going to happen. But I did it anyway. It was worth a shot. So anyway, I took this internship, and I was absolutely terrified to share my journey with people. I was one that I didn't take pictures of myself. I hid behind all the photos. I grabbed children and shoved them in front of me in photos. And I just decided, you know what, I have to give this my all. I have to be vulnerable and share, and maybe learn from other people while I'm doing this. So I did. Every day on Facebook, I was sharing my journey, and on social media, and I was totally overwhelmed and shocked by the amount of support that I got from friends and family. And as things were progressing, and I started to look different and feel different, I had so many people responding to me that it was hard to keep up. So I was learning so much as a coach that I started to gain a little bit more confidence and sharing a little more and being a little more vulnerable. So I did not get my first 5 clients my first month. And I was so irritated, like, see, I told you it wasn't going to work. And then my just amazing in-laws who are so supportive, they signed up. I'm like, great, okay, that's probably all I'm going to get. And I loved it. I learned so much from them. And the following month, I had more people reach out, and I had a couple more people sign up. And I did just a ton of health assessments, you guys. So many health assessments, so many phone calls. And I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely hate the phone. The phone just terrifies me. Please raise your hand or put something in the chat, like a 1 in the chat if you also hate the phone. Because I honestly legit have this like phobia of the phone, like documented by a psychiatrist. And I would tell my coach, I just hate the phone. I can't do this. And she would just push me through. And so I just kept making those phone calls, and I started to learn how to make them shorter. And I was doing the work every day. And I started noticing that the people that had done health assessments for me weeks before or months before, all of a sudden they were reaching back out. Okay, I'm ready now. What? You said no before. Now you're ready? Okay, let's go. And then I started noticing the more that I posted on social media and shared my vulnerability, people felt comfortable to reach out to me. And more and more people were signing up and doing this with me. And now I'm at executive director. And so this has been an incredible journey. So it's been 130 pounds ago that I've lost 130 pounds in 10 months. I've still got a little more to go. But honestly, this is what I tell my friends and family and clients. The biggest thing for me has been my mind shift, the mind change, the education that I've been receiving. That has completely transformed my life and my family's life. So a few months ago, my husband signed up as well and has lost almost 100 pounds. And my 13-year-old son, he wanted to do the teen program, and he's lost over 20 pounds. And I can move and hike every day. I'm connecting with people. I'm working through these phobias of mine and struggles, and I'm learning so much as I go as a coach. And I don't think I would have learned nearly as much about myself and had been as successful in my journey as I would have if I had not started coaching. This has just been an incredible journey, and I'm so excited to see how much farther it's going to take me, because I'm all in, Amber and Jared. Let's do this.
Awesome, Joy.
I got one word. It's actually 2 words for all of you: exposure therapy.
All the
Right?
ones in the chat.
All the ones in the chat that are afraid of the phone. The only way we overcome fears is to actually face them. And you know what? I would say that of all the coaches that we've had the privilege of working with over the years, that I'll bet that 95% have a phobia of the phone, right? Even though in my life, when I was a kid, it was like we would just hang out on the phone with each other, right? You just like chill and my parents would be like, don't take the phone in your room, right?
You weren't allowed.
We weren't just allowed to take the phone in our room, but we would just hang out. So I would hang out in my parents' house growing up, in the downstairs laundry room, and just lay on the floor and make a pillow out of towels or something like that and lay on the floor and chat with my friends, right? Because I wasn't allowed to hang out with them. So I was hanging out with them on the phone. I don't know what happened. We were on the phone too much as kids. And now, oh yeah, and the phone cord, right? You got that like 50-footer, so you could like pull it all over the house.
Absolutely. So, okay, Joyce did so many good things, but one of them that I heard is she did so many health assessments. Okay. We're going to talk about some of the action steps that you do in order to be a successful coach. Okay. And I didn't say this earlier, but I'm assuming, you guys, there's hundreds of you on here. I'm assuming that you are on here because you want more success in your coaching business. If you're on here and you're like, I don't know, someone just duct taped me and threw me in a car and now I'm here, that's okay too. And you're like, whoa, everyone's just like blowing me away. That's okay. But you probably signed up to be a coach because you wanted some level of success helping people. I'm assuming. Is it okay if we both just like eyeball to eyeball, like make that assumption together?
And
Okay.
yeah,
Pile in
Optavia,
the Optavia party bus.
yeah. So we didn't say this earlier, but I'll insert it here. Is every single time we start a specialty training or a boot camp, guess what? There's going to be a percentage of you who are not around in 5 weeks.
And it's going to be all good reasons, right?
Yep. All
Also
good
known
reasons.
as excuses.
Right? One of the things that you have to be so clear about during separation seasons are your dreams, are
Yeah.
your goals, what you want to accomplish. Because if you don't believe in your goals, do you think anybody else is going to talk you into them?
I'll tell you what, this community, if you want somebody to keep talking you into your dreams, continue being part of this community. And yeah, in the chat said, as in not on the Zoom, not like
Right. Sorry, I need to. I'm not the greatest at clarifying sometimes.
That's why I'm here, guys.
Yeah.
I am here to help Jared clarify. Okay, let's talk about this, because in this business, this is not the like 9 to 5. I show up, I work this many hours and I get paid this many dollars. That's called an employee. You have a job job if that is what happens, and that's okay. Lots of people, in fact, it's like 95% of Americans, that's their situation. Job job, they show up, they clock in, they work, they clock out, and they go home and wish it was the weekend.
Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful on the Shark Tank, he says the employers pay you a wage or a salary to convince you out of your dreams. Right? You go in and you're like, nope. And Dan Bell always says that employers only pay employees enough to keep them from quitting, and employees only work hard enough to not get fired.
Isn't that the truth?
So true.
And here's the other part of that. Even though it's 95% of the people, it's 5% of the wealth. I have this feeling that those of you on here, you want to maybe be part of more than 5% of the wealth. So let's talk about some other options. There's the self-employed. It's instead of you have a job, you own a job where you maybe are working for yourself, but you're by yourself. And a lot of times you're just working 24/7. This was us before Optavia. We both were self-employed and stop. I mean, not even 40 hours a week. It was 50, 60. Own a job, it's almost like the job owns you, the business owns you a little bit.
To be completely honest, it was us for our first 18 months in Optavia. We were treating Optavia as self-employment.
Yep. And no leverage. So a lot of times, you know, you start your Optavia business and you are helping clients, and if you just only help clients, it's kind of like being self-employed. You can work as much as you want and whenever you want, but if you want to be successful, you're definitely going to hustle a lot, which is a good thing, you guys. That's where you start out. But when you go into being a business owner, where you own a system, this is when you start adding coaches to your team, okay? When you start bringing in more people who are saying, I want to help people. I want to also build my dreams and not get paid to give up on my dreams. And you own a system, you start leveraging. When Jared and I were flying here yesterday and sleeping and all this, we were earning money. That's a great place to be. And then it goes on to be an investor. And Jared talked about keeping up with the Joneses. I would hope that the money that you're making in Optavia, that you're not paying your bills with that yet. I would hope that you're saving that to invest into your own business and invest in other investments in the future.
So I want to show you simple graphics of what this business looks like. Imagine these little angel smiley faces that are appearing on your screen. They're just people in your business. They could be clients, they could be coaches, they could be groups of people, it could be a family, right? So let's say that you bring on these 4 people or 4 groups of people, whatever, and they can, again, client or coach. It doesn't only pay you this month. Did you know that on average in Optavia, that a client, this is just a client orders for 5.5 months.
That's actually if they get the Habits of Health
If
system.
they get the Habits of Health system.
Yeah,
so
it's actually lower
if you're not
don't.
ordering the Habits of Health transformational system for your clients, shame on you. No, we're not shaming people here.
We're not shaming.
I would strongly encourage you to change your ways. This doesn't mean that they're all reading it yet.
Right.
This
true.
just means that you're ordering it.
Well, and this isn't even just orders you're looking on the screen. This is like work that you're putting in.
Yes.
Okay. So work you're putting in November. If you're hustling like Joy and doing tons of health assessments and tons of phone calls and getting over that fear of the phone and getting over that fear of posting on social media, that is going to yield this month too. And then the work that you do in November will yield in December and January. And then a little less in February, a little less in March, a little less in April if you don't put in any more work.
But then you put in the same amount of work next month in December. You bring a similar number of people, or you plant a similar number of seeds, and that is going to pay you out. And it's even going to go beyond April into May. We're just not showing that here. Okay. And then in January, you do the same amount of work. A lot of people even put in more work in January because they've got tons of people. This is an interesting time of year because this is a time of year, let's call it winter, right? When harvests don't happen as much. Could you imagine a farmer going out during planting season and throwing down 4 or 5 seeds? And then for the next several months, cursing the ground or God or whatever it is, and saying, oh, I have no harvest, right? Well, the truth is, farmers put down millions of seeds, and they don't worry about the 4 that don't grow.
That's true.
Because there are going to be thousands and thousands of seeds that die in farming. Okay, so we move on. You put in the same amount of work in February and March and April.
But you know what most people do? Let's talk about what a lot of people do. They go, okay, let's talk about a new coach who maybe just signed up, and they do one health assessment and they go, oh, that was too much. Okay, I need to rest. Hold on. Just give me like a week. Give me 2 weeks. Yeah, stroke my hair, please. Okay, give me just a couple of weeks, and then I'll do another one. And then next month, I'll just do one more. That doesn't create momentum, you guys.
You know what? You know the truth between these 2 people? There are some people who are still living in this November land, and there's people who are living in this April land. And guess what? They're doing the same amount of work.
They're just more consistent.
The people who are in the April land and have these huge, massive organizations of clients and coaches, they've just been doing it consistently. They do the same work all the time, every day, every month, every year. If you can put in 6 months of consistent work, this is what your business can look like. You know what? If you put in this kind of work, not just for 6 months, but for 6 years, do you know what that's called? That's called freedom. But freedom comes from hard work. Not hard in you're going to have blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, you'll probably have some blood, sweat, and tears, right? It will be your heart breaking for a client or a coach. and things that are going on in their lives, and you get to be there to help them process that emotion and grieve and mourn with them, because that's part of life.
Yeah, and we did work 10 years ago that's still paying us today. I'll give you an example. 10 years ago, we did a meeting at this random place that we let us do meetings for free. And we would take our little like projector that it wasn't even ours at that point. I can't remember.
We
at that
borrowed
point
it
it was
from a
ours.
friend.
No, we borrowed it from our neighbor. We're like, who has a projector? They'll let us borrow your projector. And our neighbor was like, I'll let you borrow my projector. I never use it. I was like, sweet. And we would do these meetings and we would talk about coaching. We would talk about our program. And some nights, you guys, some people, we would have like a handful of people. Other nights, 0. And this one night we had one person show up.
Well, let me say, when we had 1 or 0 people show up, we didn't do 0 or 1 work.
Yeah.
We invited dozens and dozens and dozens of people. They just couldn't come that night.
Mm-hmm.
But we still showed up to have the meeting for those people who did.
And we didn't go cry and be like, no one came tonight. We're like, oh, well.
And when we were doing these meetings 10 years ago, we were doing them every single week. We did meetings every week for 2 years. And then we got to the point where we're bigger groups and more coaches involved and stuff. So it didn't make sense to do them every single week anymore. So we did bigger meetings once a month. Mm-hmm. Or once every 6 weeks.
But 10 years ago, we did a meeting and it was like 10 minutes, 15 minutes after, something like that. And we're like, well, let's just pack up our neighbor's projector and go on home. Actually, maybe go get Froyo first. I don't know. Can't remember. And in walks Chantel Flake. Hey guys, how's it going? And we're like, oh, okay. Don't clean up, Jared. We have someone here. And
we're like, oh, we can just talk to you. And Chantel's like, no, I want the whole thing.
I want the presentation.
I want the presentation.
And she sits in the front row with her notepad and she goes, okay, go. and we gave her that presentation, you guys. And that work that we did that night and helped training her in those first 3 months of no clients. I was thinking, I don't know if this girl's going anywhere, but she's showing up. And she did show up, and she's an integrated presidential director now. And that work we did is still paying us today.
You know what? That work that we did, it's not just paying us, it's paying Chantel, yes. And it's paying hundreds of coaches on her team.
Many of you are on today.
Because of Chantel.
Yep.
So
what is the work? We're saying, do the work, guys. Prioritize the work. Visualize yourself doing the work through the hard seat. And you're going, I am willing. Give me the work.
Okay, so Dan Valentine always talks about really 2 main groups of people. Okay, well, there's 3 main groups. 1, there's lazy people. 2, there's people who are confused or they just don't know the next step. They're unsure. And then 3 are the people who know what they're doing. They know the next step, right? So what's the next step for each of these groups? Well, if you're in the lazy group, stop it. And you have to align your goals with your work ethic.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to work for something and you can honestly tell yourself, I'm never going to be willing to work for my goals, lower your standards. Right? That comes straight from Tommy Boy. If at first you don't succeed, then lower your standards. I hope nobody lowers their standards, because that's not a life of purpose and fulfillment.
Well, and honestly, if you are in a place where you're like, I'm not just very ready right now, that's okay, you guys. If you're just not ready to put in the work, whether that's with your health, with your business, with your marriage, with your parenting, with your spirituality, whatever it is for you, if you're unwilling, just accept yourself that you're unwilling right now, but don't put a label on yourself that says lazy person, unwilling forever.
Right. But at the same time, then don't kid ourselves in those seasons, right? And say, I'm shooting for IPD in my business or my marriage or what relationship with kids or whatever it is. I'm not going to be the IPD during this season.
Maybe it's time to connect with your coach at
Yeah.
that time and say, I'm feeling unwilling. I want clarity. Because a lot of times all it takes
Yep.
is clarity on what you want. And all of a sudden the motivation, it appears, and putting in structure around what you want to create, breaking it down to the lowest common denominator. So we're going to talk more about that. Let's talk about the daily action hub. Okay.
And this is where the middle group comes in. And the middle group is where 99% of us fall a lot of the time. And I even think, like Dan Valentine talks about the lazy group, I even think that most of those people fall into the middle category. They just don't have mentorship, or they're not reaching out to their mentorship. So what Amber said, absolutely critical, that you connect with your mentorship and say, what is my next step? Because oftentimes it's not as big of a step as we think it is.
Yeah.
It's just a consistent one.
It's true. And a lot of times just talking out like what's holding you back, talking out the concept that's like keeping you stuck. That is the key of the breakthrough. So let's talk about the Daily Action Hub. And we borrowed this, you guys, from our friends, the Valentines. They had a coach on their group put this together, and we were like, let's plug into this amazing tool of helping you guys get into action. It's called the Daily Action Hub. And basically it's just like how to connect with so many people. It's on steroids. So I'm going to show you how to find it. And if you are not in the Facebook group, the Holiday Success Bootcamp 2021, I want you to find that group. I want you to, it's right here at the top in the featured. I put a post in here, Daily Action Hub, 9 power sessions to get into massive action. We will discuss on Bootcamp. Okay, you're just going to click that. It's a Canva link. And it's pretty cool, you guys. There's 9 power sessions to help you set daily actions. So the first one, create a list. The next one, it's going to help you connect to the Facebook group that has all the before and afters that are compliant, approved from the lawyers. This is an important thing. We want to stay in compliance because we love this business and want it to stick around. Okay, we want to be in compliance. Creating a side-by-side of your journey. I know a lot of you just went like this. I don't know if I can do that and put that on Facebook. You guys, your mentor is going to walk you through this. And to Joy's point and Jared's exposure therapy point, sometimes you have to expose yourself to the thing you are afraid of to move past that. Okay, if you're afraid of picking up the phone, let's make some more phone calls.
I'm going to make a point here. This goes for anything in your life, right?
Maybe not anything. You should probably consult a therapist.
Okay. A lot of things in your life. I see people come and have people come to us all the time. They're like, oh, I'm really struggling with one of my kids, right? And what do? They're not exposing themselves to their kids. They're not just having the discussions. They're not helping their children and themselves process their emotions. What are they doing? They're going and doing more laundry or cooking or cleaning or reading books or whatever. And I'm not saying don't read books, but you have to get into the work of those things.
Yeah, break it down. So this is the one I want to point out, though, is the last one. Choose a plan and track it. I want you to click on that today. And today, I'm going to put this in the Facebook group afterwards for you to report in. This is one of your assignments today, is to click on choose a plan and track it. And I want you to decide, where am I going to be where am I committing time-wise to do the work for the next 5 weeks through the bootcamp, and really till the end of the year.
And before you click on one of these, just know that it is exactly the same actions.
It's just how much time.
It's just how much time.
Yeah.
The beginner is going to be 30 minutes.
Yep.
The ready for more plan is going to be 60, and the all-in plan is going to be 90 minutes. These are going to be business building, relationship building activities, and they are all outlined for you.
Yep.
Just as kind of a general rule, like beginners would connect with 3 people.
Let's click on it.
Yeah.
How about that? Okay, so the beginner track plan, this is a 30-minute per day plan. it lines out like the action, the work, you guys. This is pretty cool. So the first thing you do, define your goal. There might be typos. I didn't make this doc, okay? Typos are okay. You too can be an integrated presidential director if you have typos. It's fine, okay?
But there is a thing called spell check though.
Define you goal. That would not catch on spell check, okay? And then set a goal for 30 minutes each day. This is key. 30 minutes to do as much of the actions as you can and then stop, okay? I think that this is a really good thing right here, is set that timer for 30 minutes. Actually do the one that counts down. Is that the timer? Or is that the stopwatch? Stopwatch counts up. Okay, timer. Set the timer for 30 minutes and it counts down. And when it goes off, then see how much you got done and write it down. Like many pages into this, it's 45 pages, just a heads up.
That means there's 45 pages because it goes through each 50 days. It's telling you exactly what to do for 50 days.
You guys, do you know how much time is left in the year? It's about
350.
Left in this year.
Left in this year.
2021. It's November 20th. Somebody do the exact math for me, but it's about 50 days.
Yeah.
Because there's like 11 days in November and there's like 31 days.
31 days in December.
And we're going to give you a couple days off for holidays. So do you know what is left in this year? 50 days. What do you think would happen if you just went out on a limb and followed this document? Here, I'll give you, let's go over day one. I went too fast. Okay. Day one, it says, do 3 conversations in Messenger. Because you already made your list. You're going to do that today. And you just messaged 3 people and you sent 3 friend requests in 1 power post. And it even gives you an album that you click on, you guys. Gives you an album of some example power posts to get engagement on your Facebook. Look how cool this is that this gal put together. It's like really awesome, you guys. Okay.
One thing I will say with this is, we've been using this for a couple of weeks now and looking through this and doing this ourselves. And one of the things that I find as I observe other coaches is you've got to stop just having coaches as all of your friends. Okay.
Yeah. If all the coaches comment on your post, that's great. Like if they're actually your friends, but yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah. Really but I don't go out and I follow some coaches, but I actually unfriend a lot of coaches, not in our own organization, but in other organizations.
My rule is if we're actually friends, then I keep you.
But I also don't get offended by this, but I don't go out and comment on everything of even our coaches that I see. Because guess what that's going to do to my social media? It's going to think these are the 10 people that Jared spends all of his time with. So I'm just going to show you these.
Yep.
We need to start working and expanding our circle of influence by actually connecting with the people that we're not as good of friends with yet.
And then it says, think ahead. Tomorrow, we will be posting about your journey. Yeah, heads up, your journey. Okay. It gives you even time to like rev up, you guys. I love this document, and sharing a face-to-face before and after picture. So be thinking of what you'd like to share and get a photo ready. You guys, think about it. Who thinks they could do that in a half an hour? I really think that I could do way more than that in a half an hour, but it's like giving you plenty of time. All right. And it even has a tracker at the end that tells you like, okay, now mark what you did.
Let me ask the opposite question. How many of you think you couldn't accomplish that in a half an hour? If you don't think you could accomplish all of that in a half an hour, I would encourage you to look at how distracted you get.
There's a question. When will this be on the site? Because right now this is on the Facebook group.
Yep.
And right now, at the announcement.
Make sure that you're part of the Holiday Success Bootcamp 2021.
Yeah. And I will post it again today because I know you guys, I get it, especially when you're new. You're like, you guys throw lots of stuff at us and we don't know where to find it. And I totally get you. it's okay.
Everything for this boot camp, everything for this 9 power sessions a day will all be in the boot camp page.
Yeah. Okay, so let's keep going, guys, because there's some good stuff still happening here that I want to get to. All right. So I am going to bring on my friend and global director, Kat Fuller. And Kat, I want you to like give us your best stuff around this topic right now and some thoughts that are coming at us. Go ahead and take yourself off mute. I'm excited for your share.
Hey everyone, I'm super excited to be here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sounds loud and clear.
Awesome. Thank you. I am so excited for this boot camp, you guys. Almost, oh my gosh, we're coming up on 8 years ago that I launched my business on Facebook. And that's basically how it started. And I love what we're talking about here and how simple this process is, you guys. I think back when we started, it was like before the wheel was invented or something, because now we have this vehicle that's so fast and so ready and just amazing, you guys. So I want to talk about a few things after you have gone and decided which goal you want to do. So if you're doing the 30, 60, or 90 days, and you guys, brand new coaches who want to go for it, jump in the 90 days. If you're like, I have an hour and a half a day that I could spend on this, do it. It doesn't matter if you're brand new. It's the same actions. Okay. So don't like cut your feet off because you think you're new. So just go for it. After you decide and make that goal, then I want you to go to that first thing in the hub, the making a hundreds list. Okay. So if you have ever made a hundreds list, put a 1 in the chat real quick. I want to see. Looks like there's some. Good. If you've made more than one 100s list, put a 10 in the chat. There are some. Okay, good. That's the point I wanted to make. This hundreds list, you guys, this is a living, breathing document, okay? This is people who are on your heart. This is people that you pray over. You guys, some of you, probably most of you on this call right now, were on someone's hundreds list. Someone thought about you. Someone loved you enough to care for you. Someone prayed over your name. Someone wanted you to live a better life. How does that make you feel to be on someone's hundreds list? You guys, when we stop making it about ourselves, and I don't know 100 people, or I'm scared to reach out to 100 people or whatever, we are taking the opportunity of growth from other people. And we're taking away the opportunity for them to feel loved. How many of you feel loved because you were part of someone's hundreds list and now you're a coach and you're changing lives? It's pretty amazing, you guys. So think about who comes to your heart first. And you're going to make a hundreds list. There's a lot of different ways to make it. I like this document. You can follow it. It's 20-minute activity. Go for it. You can do your hundreds list on a notebook. You can do it on Excel. You can do it on whatever program you want. You can do it on a hard copy. I have them all over the place, you guys. But here's the thing. You need to keep track. And I'm speaking from experience here, because there was this girl 8 years ago who went on top. She was a farmer, not a hunter. She went on top of a silo, a wheat silo, you know, those big metal silo things. And she stood up there with a bag of seeds. And she shook it like this in the wind. And she shook it. And guess what? Those seeds went everywhere. So this little farmer, she went down to her fields and was like, oh my gosh, seeds are popping up all over the place and there is no order. And this little farmer I'm talking about is me. You guys, I learned the hard way. You have to be systematic about how you keep track of people. So make a list and keep track of it, however it works best for you. Now, if someone says no, do you take them off your list? You might just make a note, not yet. But if someone's like totally not on Facebook or doesn't want anything to do with you, or says, please leave me alone, or whatever, I don't know. Sometimes you will be taking people. I like to just put a line through them, or even on my program online, I just put a line through them because sometimes those people even come back. But you replace them with another one. As soon as someone signs up to be a client on program. Take their name off your list and sign up someone new. Put someone new on your hundreds list. So this is a living, breathing document, and you want to make sure that you're always adding to it. You're always thinking about more people, going through, reaching out to these people, caring for them, interacting with them, loving them. And you guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about Facebook here. So this hundreds people that you're reaching out to, that you're caring about and loving and sharing your heart, they're going to see you and they might not comment right away. They might not have anything to say. But as you're interacting with them, not only are you messing with Facebook's algorithms and all that stuff I won't get into, but you're genuinely part of their life. And they're watching you and they're going to care. And they're eventually going to come. So there's a few different phases of your journey on Facebook that I want to share. And as you get into making posts and interacting and all of these actions that we're talking about, you guys can look at the hub. You don't need me to teach you all the actions, but I want to share just a few principles of Facebook with you really quickly. So one, your first phase, there's like 3 phases. There's probably more than that, but I'm calling 3. That's what I'm going to name it. So 3 phases of Facebook. The first is the wow phase. Okay. This is when you do your grand opening, your before and becoming, or before and after, whatever you want to call it. This is when you're like, I've lost all this weight. Who needs help? And you put this out there and you're like, hey, I've lost all this weight and I feel amazing and I have a great coach. And people are like, wow, I want what you have. And you may have a huge response based on the work you did years before. Guys, are you sensing a theme here? It all happens for a reason when it happens. I can't guarantee timing, but I can guarantee if you do the work, you will get the harvest. So you may have a big response with your wow phase. You may not, and that's okay. The next phase is the watch phase. This is when people notice you're losing weight and they're going to watch you. They're going to see what you do. Maybe they know you're a coach and they're like, yeah, we'll see how long she does this. Or we'll see if she keeps her weight off. Or we'll see if this is really a thing. They're going to watch you. And the third phase is respect. So the respect phase is when you've been doing it a while, you've lost your weight and kept it off, maybe gained it, lost it, gained it, lost it, whatever your story is, but you've stayed consistent and been present on your social media. That's when people respect you. And that's when people say, oh, I know Kat, she's a health coach. And those are the kind that when you get to the respect phase, that's when you start getting people who will refer you just when they're having a conversation with someone. Oh my gosh, my friend was talking about, or I know if someone was talking about they needed a coach. And I have a friend that's a health coach. Kat is a health coach. And I love what Amber said. It doesn't matter if you're on a weight loss journey or not, you guys. We are all here to help people and love people. And you can be in all different levels of these phases with Facebook and still bless so many lives. So I wanted to talk really quickly too about when you don't see a lot of likes or you don't feel a lot of interaction, and you might feel a little bit like, oh, I'm not doing well. I want you to know that friends of friends are watching you. I have a friend who I've had on my hundreds list for a long time. And I always comment on their posts sincerely. I care about them genuinely. I think they'd be the most fun people in the world to coach with. We've had some conversations. They haven't signed up yet. They're not ready, and that's okay. But you know what? One of their friends saw my name on a post and stalked me. And they became a client. And now she's a coach and she's helping people. And it's amazing, because if I hadn't lived my life out loud, then she wouldn't be with us. Where your focus goes, the energy flows. If you're focusing on what you lack, that's what you will get more of. But if you focus on helping a lot of people, then you will have more. And I want to share this thought with you that the ultimate resource, Tony Robbins says the ultimate resource is human emotion. And if you can tap into the passion and drive that expands your thoughts and feelings and actions, that's when you're going to find success. Don't get mistaken. People sometimes mistake movement for achievement. Okay. Productivity is about focus. create that vision and don't let anything get in your way. So one last thought really quick. If all our goals serve only ourselves, I want to tell you that achieving those goals will only make us happy for a short time. But when our mission is bigger, to serve others, then not only will we leave a legacy of giving, but we will be more fulfilled. And you guys, it all starts with just living your life out loud and being intentional and having fun and loving others. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Kat bringing it from her car. I love it. I know she's at a volleyball tournament, and this is an example, you guys. We're in Hawaii. The sun has.
That's how we do.
Yeah, the sun's coming up. It's actually light. It was dark when we started, and we're on boot camp. You guys, I can't think of another place that I'd want to be right now at 6 a.m. in Hawaii. It's true. And so I love it. Thanks, Kat. So good. So let's end with this thought. It's time to lift some weights, you guys. And Joy talked about this, like she kept doing the phone calls, she kept doing the Facebook posts, and Kat talked about this too, is that things don't just get easier because they're easier. It doesn't feel lighter because they're actually lighter. It feels lighter because you're stronger. If I said, go lift that 50-pound dumbbell and you did it once, you'd be like, that's heavy. Well, it depends on who I'm talking to, I guess. But if you keep lifting it, your muscles grow. And that's what that daily action plan is about. It's about helping you grow your muscles, because so many people get confused in this business and they think there are people who are good at this business and people who aren't. So I just need to see if I'm good or not. You guys, that is not the truth of it. There are people who lift the weights and grow their muscles in this business, and there are people who don't. And the people who lift the weights and grow their muscle, maybe they already did some weightlifting before they came in as an Optavia coach. That can be true too. You might have had some skills from some other places and times in your life where you already lifted weights and built some muscles. That's okay. But everyone had to lift the weights and build the muscles. Everyone.
And even if you think that you came in, or in fact, you did come into this business with a certain set of skills, I promise you, you're going to have to build new ones. There's this principle called flow, and there's challenges on one axis, there's challenge in life, and on the other axis is skills and support. When our skills and support are too low for the level of challenges, we get overwhelmed, stressed, anxious. And the truth of the matter is, every single human being on this planet does everything in their life at the level of anxiety they can tolerate. Guess what? Some people have just developed skills of being able to tolerate more anxiety and keep moving. The same is true of fitness levels. Someone who's just starting their fitness journey or getting healthier, they don't have the anxiety resilience in a physical form to higher interval training or demands on their body.
Maybe you need a personal trainer, i.e. a business coach.
Yes. So the way that we do this, some people, they come in and they're like, I've got a huge circle of influence. Do you know how many people have come to me and Amber in this business and said, I have this massive circle of influence, and they do nothing with it?
Yeah, several.
Sometimes a huge circle of influence can be a tranquilizer. They think that because they already have a certain reputation, that that's going to work in the Optavia business, but it doesn't, because they want to do it their own way. They don't want to follow a system, whatever it is. They don't pick up the phone, right? We've had people on our team that had nearly 1 million followers on social media, people reaching out and asking them to help them. And they refused to, because all they wanted to be was an influencer, not an impactor. Do you want to impact lives? Or do you just want to be one of these influencers in today's world that's not really creating any more goodness in the world? We want to change people's lives. We want to change the trajectory of their families. Whether or not their children will struggle with the same things that we've dealt with weight and lack of confidence and poverty and whatever it is.
Yeah. Ask yourself, am I willing to give it a go? Am I willing to do the work, lift the weights? You have to lift your own weights. You can't be like, oh, I wish my husband would lift the weights for me. I wish that my business coach would lift some weights for me. They can lift weights, but it's not for you. You have got to lift your own weights, guys. Okay, so sum up. Thank you for spending an hour with us. Sum up. We are going to put a post in the Facebook group, and you are going to, I'm going to put that link again to the power sessions, to the daily action hub, and you are going to click on the number 9, choose your plan and track it. And in the comments, you're going to say which plan you are committing to for the last 50 days of the year. I didn't see in the chat if anybody added up how many exact days left in the year, but it's about, we're going to say it's 50. Okay. There are 50 days left, work days of the year. I feel like you have something to say.
Well, 42 days, Clarissa says. Guess what? Go 50. Go 8 days into January.
Yes, thank you.
Right? Don't quit at, like, if you can put in the work for 6 months. All that proved to us when we first started was, hey, we're going to do this for 6 months. We're going to put in all the work for 6 months. And then we said to ourselves, we could do this for 6 years. And guess what 6 years created? Freedom.
Yeah. But we didn't stop there, because guess what? We don't just want freedom for us. We want freedom for you. We want freedom for you. And that's why we didn't just rest on our laurels and say, we're making enough money, we're helping enough people. No, because we want you to have what we have found. So thank you for joining us today. We love you. Week 1 boot camp. Make sure you plug into the Facebook group. We're going to have some other fun things that will be dripping onto the wall. So make sure you check that and turn on your notifications. You guys are amazing. Aloha, and have a fabulous Thanksgiving. Love you. Bye, guys.